Hi, everybody. This is Lowell with continued thoughts on the subject of music theory. And we're talking about rhythm right now. And we've talked about how rhythm is organized in terms of dividing a whole into half and quarter and eighth and 16th and so forth. And so that gives you a lot of the different parts and pieces to create rhythmic structure. And so you can create rhythm patterns with those components, essentially long elements and shorter elements. And so you can break them up and kind of piece them together into small fragments. For example, I'm just going to, I guess, throw one out there, but like an eighth note and 2/16ths. And so that rhythmic pattern sounds like da, da, da. And so you have 2/16ths, which make up 1/8, and the combination of 2/8 equals one beat or one quarter note. But you can have, that's a very tiny rhythmic fragment. But what you can do, I like thinking of rhythm a little bit like language, and I'll talk about this with other elements of music, with harmony and also melody later, but a little bit like language. And if you think about how, when you're reading a book, you have these little words, were little tiny fragments, but then you put several words together and you create a sentence with various elements that have good sentence structure. You have your noun, your verb, and sometimes your direct object. And so, and then everything that goes to augment those major structural elements. And so rhythm is not too much different than that, is that you can have these little elements that are actually strung together a little bit bigger to create what I would call a sentence. And I've used this illustration before of the opening of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, where he would take this first little fragment intervallically, but also rhythmically, bum, 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 just those four notes, but also the rhythm of that, bum, 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 and then extract that, bum, 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 bum. Notice the next phrase, he uses the same rhythm pattern, ba, 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 da, ba, da, da, ba, da, da, ba, ba, da, 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 ba, da, da, da. Right, and so you have, out of those first four notes, he's building the first sentence rhythmically. And so then what you can do with rhythm is you can create phrases or phrase lengths. And in a lot of contemporary pop music, most phrase lengths are equal divisions of 4 or 8 or 16 bars. And that actually is probably best understood or highlighted by the 12-bar blues. And there's actually, a lot of people don't know this, but there's also the 16-bar blues. And so you have these elements of larger phrases. And so going back to the illustration of literature, in music, you can have, sentences, but then those sentences create paragraphs. And so a paragraph could be, let's say, using a pop song analogy, let's say a sentence would be an 8-bar phrase, but then the paragraph could be 4 8-bar phrases strung together. And so when I say 8 bars, I'm talking about 4 beats per measure. And so you have, let's say the song is going dun 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 dun, that's the tempo. And so each one of those beats, you have 4 of those which comprise one measure. And so you have 8 measures of that tempo. And then you have 4 of those that are strung together to create, what would be called the verse, and that would be your first musical paragraph. And then you have another, say 2 sets of 8 bars that are strung together to create the chorus. And so you have, your verse, which is 32 measures, and then you have your chorus, which is 16 measures. and then you have your bridge, which may be another 8 bars. And so structurally, you're building, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then you build your basically the form of the piece, the form of the song, in this structural way, and that really it's rhythmic. A lot of people think of rhythm as just kind of like the groove that the drum puts in, but rhythm can actually be seen as structure. And so if you take the analogy of literature, then you've built your chapter. A chapter lays out basically the first paragraph contains your theme, and then the last paragraph contains kind of like the conclusion of what you were trying to say. And then your book, let's say an album's worth of music, ends up creating a full spectrum idea of all those chapters combined, and so it'd be like writing a novel. And so, and then if you wanted to even extend that, let's say an anthology of several different albums that are all in a group. That's just kind of a metaphor of talking about rhythmic structure, how you can go from a rhythmic word, like I started out talking about, da da da. That's just one word rhythmically, but then like the Beethoven example, da 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 da, extending that same pattern out, and it becomes larger and larger framework. And so rhythm is small, but it's also macro. And again, going back to universal frequency structure, you have little cells, or even atoms or molecules, and then you have that are vibrating at a certain rate. But then you have the macro of the solar system, that's vibrating at a certain rate. And so all of this is rhythm, and frequency and rhythm are all the same subject. And so musically, we work with these things to create sound and pattern.